Hey, 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 what's happening? What's happening? What's happening out there? Peace in, peace in. Welcome to another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm your host, Tony Ray Harvey, broadcasting, podcasting for the southwest part of Sacramento, Greenhaven Pocket area. Peace and blessings on this Friday evening. You know why I'm here, so let's get down. The Sacramento Kings, they remain winless in their last 8 games, including five straight defeats on the current 6-game road trip, losing 112-93 to the Boston Celtics on January 30th at TD Gardens tonight, Friday, January 30th. So the month of January is about to conclude. The Sacramento Kings got one more game on this 6-game road trip. They will play in Washington to start the first day of February. So that'll be February the 1st. All right. Hey, not too much to say about this one. Definitely gonna recap it. Got to do that. Okay. They've been recapping for 170, 180 years. So that's not even gonna change, folks. Believe me, that's not even gonna change. And I can just bring that up. But anyway, the Kings are, I believe this is the second time they have reached an 8-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a couple 7 games losing streak. I'm losing count. But as I've been saying for the last couple airings, if the Kings win, they win. We cool with that. If they lose, they still win. Because we are talking about the draft lottery. Now, I know Doug Christie is not interested in losing. And they have been playing well in some, they did play well last night. Despite they losing in Philadelphia in that fourth quarter. Matter of fact, in that last couple minutes, which I didn't bother to come back and do a summary of that game because it is back-to-back. Matter of fact, I might continue that as well. There's no need to do back-to-backs unless there's something significant about the game. Anything significant about them games. So we'll just leave it right there. But hey, the only thing that's of substance here is the Kings are on a game losing streak. What I did like in that second half, because this game was basically over in the first half, Kings could have came back and won or made it a more competitive game. But they're on the back-to-back. No excuses, but they are on the back-to-back. Christie, in that last quarter, basically going down, toward the middle of the third quarter, I would say, he left those rookies out on the floor, and that's Maxime Raynaud, Clifford, who had 15 points, and Dylan Cardwell. Now, matter of fact, Neek had 15 points in this game. He hit three triples tonight, so that's good. He's gonna take his licks and wounds, but I'm still seeing it there. I don't care what anybody say. It ain't gonna be pretty or perfect, but I still think this man is moving in. He's definitely moving in the right direction. I can almost say that he's peeling off some stuff from DeMar DeRozan, because some of the stuff that he be doing is like, oh, that's some DeMar DeRozan stuff. That's what I'm seeing. So obviously he watching him closely. As far as observation, he's got him. Neek has DeMar under the microscope closely, to understand his game. So I'm pretty sure, that'll get, but it'll get better. But this game was all about Payton Pritchard, who led the way with the Celtics for 29 points and 8 assists. All those 8 assists was in the first half. He had 2 rebounds in 32 minutes, and the Boston Celtics improved to 30-18 and 15-8 at home. They have been struggling there for a little bit. I think they were like 5-5 in their last 10 games before they pulled out this win against the Kings. So they needed that. They did not have Jaylen Brown. Of course, they don't have Tatum, but they had all people like Baylor Scheierman, Neemias Queta, a former Sacramento King, Anfernee Simon, from Portland. He plays as a reserve for the Celtics to come in and handle their business for them. And that's exactly what they did. So the Kings, not so much. They really had a hard time shooting in the first half. Matter of fact, they finished the game making 31 of 83 shots for 37.3% from the field. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But once again, they're coming off a back-to-back. So, they had to do that swing down to Philly, come back a little ways to Boston. Now they're headed to play, what's the next game? The Washington Wizards. So they will be in the district. So they're in that little area of the northeast coast playing these teams. So Washington Wizards will be the last game. Then they return to play the Orlando Magic at Golden One Center on February 4th. On February the 4th. Yeah, that's basically the tale of that. Zach LaVine, he did start. He didn't start last night, but he did start tonight. And Maxime, he started because Domantas Sabonis, he's sidelined along with Russell Westbrook. I think everyone knows all about that. That's just part of what we do here. And, yeah. Matter of fact, Devin Carter, he got a little time in. He entered, I'm about to say midway through the second quarter. Yeah, Devin Carter came off the bench midway through the second quarter, and he had a chance to play. And then a couple of the other guys played. Daquan, Plowden, who've been playing down in the G League with the Stockton Kings. He got in. Isaiah Stevens, he got a little. He got a tick or two. They were ready to play, but the game was over anyway, and it was out there mainly with Raynaud, Clifford, and Raynaud, Clifford, and Cardwell. So yeah, it's not so much you can say, to talk about that. The game was over in the second half, and just to mention what was going on in that first half. Okay. Yeah, the Celtics, they jumped out to a 10-1 lead in the opening quarter, and they ended up being up at least by 37-22 on the basket by Anfernee Simons before topping 40 points to end that frame. That was the first 12 minutes. Now, they were up by 18 points with 3 minutes, 14 seconds left in the second quarter, but the Celtics closed out that second frame on a 10-2 run, and they led 72-46 at the break. They had made 11 to 23 shots from distance at 47.8%, and they held a 30-10 edge scoring in the paint, which kind of closed in the second half, but the game was far from over, so the Kings were able to score in the paint. I think it was like 38 to 32 after that or something like that. So the Kings rebounded in that area, but it didn't matter. Because Pritchard, he made 9 of 11 shots from the floor, 4 of 5 from behind the arc for 22 points in that first half, and all those 8 assists that he finished with were in the first half. So yeah, that basically was it. They built up a 31-point lead in the fourth quarter, and that's that. Because that's what we do around here as far as a recapping. Speaking of recapping, I saw something I don't ever see again because I'm not going back up in there. I'll just go back to some of those journalism classes that I was taking when we was trying to understand how to summarize. And summarizing an event does not have to be completely in sports journalism, although it is done frequently, oftenly. It's never going to change. All right. As far as recapping games, what I learned that this stuff been going on since like 1850. Or maybe the 1840s, or a little earlier than that. Okay, probably when the first first professional baseball game took place, folks. Okay, they were recapping the game then, and I think that game was I'm talking about the first one that was played in New York, 12-1, 11-1, something like that. They've been doing this for 180 years, and it's not going to stop. Okay, so I don't know where that come from. You do what you want to do on your own show. But I caught that, because I'm not going back to watch that crazy stuff anyways. It's a vanity project anyway, as I see it. But, and the reason why I bring that up, though, this is what caught me off guard. Because when they started entering statistics for players who played in the Negro Baseball League, they had to go back over newspaper articles to get the recaps, to get the stats and the recaps, to make that happen. Then the next thing you know, Josh Gibson, who spent a great amount of his years playing for the Homestead Grays in Pittsburgh, comes up with 900 home runs. Okay, so if you don't recap them games, and most of those recaps came out of the Black Voice, the Black newspaper, you got nothing. Well, now those records are solid because of those recaps and those stats. So I want to hear all that crazy, excuse my language, crazy mess too. Like I said, it's just a vanity project from what I'm seeing. I just had to peek in there just to see one time what's going on, since the last person that did that network thing, obviously he was a lot better than what was going on right now, but he done moved on to better things, and he's doing it in his new job, so that's a good thing. You know, plus I hear, I don't even know if I should even call them a couple, you know, but they professionally work together, and they do a really good job of recapping the games after the Kings, because when I'm leaving Golden One Center, I'm usually the first one there in the media room and the last one to leave the media room after the games. I turn on YouTube to listen to them on the way to get their perspective on the game. And they're really good at it. I'm not going to name any names. You probably already know who I'm talking about. They're really good at doing that, okay? I will say, somebody else who used to recap the game, Chris Watkins, when he used to do it a couple years ago for KHT 1140 AM. I used to listen to him a lot too. He was real good at it. I used to get some, glean some stuff out of stuff, the things that he did that I didn't know, And you go, you watching the game, you looking over stats and things, but yeah. But anyway, maybe I'm just dragging this on a little bit more, but I don't want to be on here too much longer though. But understand this, okay? Summarizing games ain't going nowhere. If it ain't been anywhere in 80 years, 180 years, it ain't going nowhere, because I have heard some things from articles that I wrote for the Associated Press, Sacramento Kings game being replayed right back out. Somebody reading it right back out on the radio, recapping it right back on the radio, probably the next day or something like that. That's the business of it, okay? Especially in sports journalism. That's what we do. I don't know where we come up with some mess like that though, but hey, do what you want, call it what you want, but it ain't going nowhere, especially around here, because a lot of people, do it and stuff. So, yeah. So once again, the Sacramento Kings, they fall to the Boston Celtics, 112-93. They lost their 5th straight games on this 6-game road trip. They have one more in the Wizards. They beat the Wizards here in Sacramento early in January. Hopefully, they can pull that out and come back with a win. Okay, I call them pride games. Maybe they should, get that up there. It's like, we playing for pride, and who knows? It may be a trade, or it may not be a trade. So far, there has not been no trade activities going on with the Sacramento Kings. Otherwise, we all would have heard about that. All right, that will be the last game before the 4th when they return here back to Sacramento. The trading deadline ends February 5th. February 5th. And I did hear something interesting from Sam Amick today in regards to Domantas Sabonis being moved or not. And Sam was pretty adamant that he wouldn't be. And a lot of talks have been surrounding about Domantas Sabonis and him being exchanged or, acquired by Toronto Raptors and a player in return and stuff. But it doesn't look like they're going to happen. I don't know. There's still plenty of time. But, most of the time, Sam is not wrong. Majority of the time, he's not wrong, because he's a national beat writer and he's all over the place. And thank goodness that he lives right here in Elk Grove in Sacramento, that we can, get firsthand information, because between him and Anfernee Sadler, these cats, man, they bring it. They bring it. They live here in the area, but they're all over the place. So that is one of the good things that I like about, having those two around. I talked to them a little bit about some things that's concerning, the Kings, or we talk about, couple of their reports or whatever, and hey, they're always willing to share something with me. So you just take it as it is, but they are really good at what they're doing in the NBA. And I think that's pretty much the same as Slater. I'm sorry. Anthony Slater. Did I say Sadler? I did say Sadler. Sadler was a young man that I knew here. His family here in Sacramento. He botched a shooting on a high-speed rail train in Belgium or France or something like that a few years ago back. About 10 years ago to be exact. So I'm talking about Anthony Sadler. But I'm really talking about as far as NBA is Anthony Slater. I'm sorry about that, Anthony. My bad. Anyway, they are really confident in some of the things that they put out, as they should be, because they are really respectable and credible reporters. And so when it comes to these type of trades and things like that, I listen to them, because most of the time when we hear these things, it comes from the outside. It does not come from the inside. Now, does little pieces of the thing does come in and out. Yes, they do come out of Sacramento about, some of these rumors and things. They do. Okay. Rumors are not going anywhere anyway. That's part of the territory. It really is. It really is. Now, what get me is, though, because, I don't waste any time on it, though, is all this trade machine stuff, though. I don't have no time for that, And I don't see Sadler or Sam Amick doing anything like that, because I know they don't have any time for that anyway. Okay. Facts. Why are we playing around with fictional stuff? Okay. That 99.9% of the time, that is not going to happen. You got to wait to see something happens. You really do. Now, I do pay attention to these rumors, but come on, man. Come on. These trade ideas and stuff like that, I guess it's fun. I don't know. I really don't know, but I do not play around. Facts. Okay, well, thanks for stopping in and listening to another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm the host, Tony Ray Harvey. I should be back Sunday after that game. That game starts at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So let's just say it's over about 5:30. And maybe I should be able to air another one. It'll be the last one before they go back to Golden One Center on February the 4th. But in the meantime, thank you for stopping in and listening to another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. Peace, love, solidarity. I'm out.